Philip Shane is going to be presenting on the Myst Documentary. So let us know what's going on. Take it away, Philip.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. How are y'all feeling? Can we get a big, I do a podcast where I try to wake people up in the morning. So if I could wake everybody up, can I get a big, can I wake, woohoo! Woo! Thank you. Yeah. Sponsored by coffee. First of all, I want to thank everyone, especially on the committee at Mysterium, for putting this whole thing together. And especially our tech crew here. It's an honor to be here. It's really cool to be in Montreal. I love all the French stuff. I really feel like I've gone somewhere, even though I only traveled an hour by plane from New York. So I'm gonna do this pretty fast. We're gonna do a quick, for the first hour, I'm gonna do kind of update on the documentary. I'm gonna show a bunch of new footage, some of it quite new, like just a couple weeks old. And then we'll do a Q&A at the end of that. And then for our second hour-ish, we have a special secret presentation. Stay tuned. There'll be a 5-minute break in between, so fear not. As Hannah mentioned, I'm Philip Shane, the director of the Myst Documentary. I still am the director. No one has fired me yet. And as you all know, when you do your own projects, that's a great thing. And it's also a bad thing because you're like, this guy really should be fired. I mean, he's blowing it. But I've been working on this since, technically I started filming in 2016 with the release of Abduction. Rand and Robin happened to speak. They came to a conference in Brooklyn where I live, and I met them and asked if I could do a documentary, and to my delight and amazement, they said yes, and we started filming. But I was just doing a little bit. I was really trying to feel out the story. Sometimes you don't know, will I be able to make a film out of this? And then by 2020, after going to Cyan here and there, I really, of course, realized this is absolutely a thing. I had grown up playing Myst and have loved it deeply for my whole life. So this is a very personal story for me. In 2020, we did a Kickstarter. And we raised $260,000. Thank you. I applaud you and thank you. Do we have any backers in the room? Oh my God! Stand up! Stand up, please. I salute you and I thank you deeply. Would everyone please thank them too? Thank you, and thank you for sticking with it. I appreciate it as we move along. All right. First, I'm going to show something some of you may have seen before, especially my backers, but it just gives you a good feel for the documentary to refresh your mind, or for those who are new who have no familiarity with this. This is a wonderful movie trailer edited by the wonderful Joshua Reinstein, who is here. Joshua, will you please stand? Yes. And if we could play it nice and loud, here we go.
My brother and I did not have much money.
We were living at poverty wages. We had nothing. All I wanted to do from junior high on was make games. Rand and I had sat in his mobile home. We got out notebooks and we just started writing. Those 2 notebooks
Made a computer game, this tiny thing called Myst.
Myst was the best-selling PC game of the decade.
Rand and I focused on the next thing. Myst was 5 people in a garage. Riven was much larger. I wanted to make something that people would enjoy, and I was going to kill myself to do that.
I put my all into it. That exhausted me.
The sequel, Riven, has finally been published and landed straight onto the American bestseller list.
Welcome Rand Miller on stage, the creator of Riven.
For the next game, Uru we decided it would be different from everything we had done before because you could be part of the game. We wanted to blow people's minds. This is a big production. We had a giant pipeline. We built a building. We had teams all lined up. We had actors ready to play roles. Ubisoft got cold feet on the whole thing.
We had a very sad meeting. Rand came in, brokenhearted, and just said, we've run out of options.
Sebastian and Chris came out of that meeting both crying. And of course, then I'm crying.
They pulled the plug and Uru was over.
The wind was out of the sails. It's just sad. But we've picked ourselves up and just kept going.
It's so fun to create. When you hit it, you know. You get the goosebumps and you know, like, oh yeah, there's no question about this. This is the one. And I'm physically reacting to this idea. And, my heart is starting to race.
Oh, you feel so good. We are working on really secretive, amazing projects. Stay tuned.
Nice work. Nice work, Joshua. Christian, you look fabulous in that. Wonderful to see you. A funny, fun fact, that moment there where Rand smiles to the camera and then the camera backs away for a while. In the actual footage right before that, I had said to him, they were finishing Firmament, and I said to him, I said, do you have a message for your future self at the end of your next game, which was Riven? And he says, Rand, retire. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, no, I don't believe it, but you never know. Another thing, now I want to jump to a thing. So I've been one thing that did happen because the documentary, because we have gone long, which is, largely due to sort of slower than hoped for fundraising as it goes. I can talk about the schedule a little bit later. But as happens with documentaries, you're filming real life, and real life tends to have new things come up. And when the Riven, when I saw 4+ years ago, I got to be in the meetings when they were starting Riven secretly. I was like, oh my God, this is absolutely incredible to be for the documentary that's telling the history of Myst and Riven, to be able to have this new Riven being made with Richard and even Robin in the beginning and stuff like that was really incredible. So I filmed throughout that process. And so I'm going to show you 2 very exciting parts and quite recent parts of that. That'll give you a good flavor for the documentary. Will have different parts, different elements. So, what you're going to see now is what we call cinema verite. Huh? Oh, Gesundheit, Katie. That's all right. Sort of observational footage, that I film myself, handheld, actual documentary footage. And then there'll be these interviews, and I'd like the interviews to be, really beautifully shot. That's one of the big things I'm holding out for. And then in addition, there will be some animation sort of illustrating some of the amazing stories they tell about the making of the game, bringing those to life in some creative way. So what I'm showing now is my sort of observational, or as I say, cinema verite. It's nice to be in a place where cinema verite is just a normal way of speaking. Footage. And this is beta testing. So Lisa and Rich Adams, some of you may know, old friends and neighbors of Cyan, get to test. They often are the first people outside the actual company to get to beta test their games, going way back, I think, to Uru even. And so they got to beta test Riven. So back in January of this year, in the middle of a blizzard, I got to go there for the 3 days of beta testing, where you see Lisa and Rich playing Riven. Now, I didn't want to include spoilers, so it's kind of funny footage. You'll see them watching, and you don't know. You'll have to guess what it is they're reacting to with amazement or getting frustrated at or whatever. But one of the most fun aspects of this is Rand, and Robin says the same thing. Always will say their most fun part, the most rewarding part of the process of making games for them is to get to sit behind people as they play the games, whether they're testing or just playing. And so just keep an eye on Rand as he's watching them. It's really quite fun. So here we go. Oh, hang on one second. Give me 1 second. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'll have to find that. So first, actually, let me show you, because I have it right here, I'm going to show you the Riven launch. So this was also a very exciting part of the process. See, this just happened. And this is only just a couple weeks ago.
What is going on in this room?
I don't know. I was on the street and saw stuff happen. A bunch of cars pulled in, so I decided to come on in here. A bunch of people are excited about the release of Riven. There was a lot of trepidation because this thing came in hot and we're small and all those same things we've always said, but yesterday the reviews came out, which were great. Today we pushed the button in 20 minutes to ship it. Richard, do you remember shipping Riven?
The only thing I remember is driving home on the day that it was released.
Yeah.
And hearing that NPR segment on the radio that you and I recorded.
Oh my gosh. I don't even remember.
And then going to the grocery store and seeing the Wired issue on the stand. But that was okay, I guess it's real. I guess it's out there because one of the best parts of this was Rich and Lisa's playthrough or Harrison's playthrough for the first time. And people who knew the original game and then were getting in there and discovering all the differences. And all of the other aspects that were really faithful to the that was really rewarding.
It was better to watch.
So
Pretty cool. Pretty darn cool.
It made it new, but it was still, the story was still.
So it's still the same. The story is so rich.
I know.
It's such a fantastic story.
I think that's why it's my favorite of the games.
Yeah, I agree. Although I do miss Uru.
I know.
I keep on joking.
I know.
Please remake Uru.
Yes, I would like that as well.
But so I tested it for 140 hours.
Yeah.
So I said to Rand, I think I'm going to turn it back on. He goes, no, we're done playing. I said, no, but I like playing.
I just want to.
I just want to play because I love it so much. I said the next time I want to play it, I want to go really slowly and look at all the little nooks and crannies. I just really want to search it and look at the graphics more carefully.
Yeah.
Go get your mimosa or sparkling cider or whatever.
Hurry.
Yeah, better hurry.
I'll do mine.
One guy started.
Okay, I think we should release the art of Riven first so it can propagate for the bundle.
People can spoil themselves.
Yep, 4 minutes early. Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Also, huge credit to Claire and Lauren for putting this together and everybody else who helped organize it, or taking screenshots.
Stuff, yeah.
Yeah,
So much fun to put that together.
Loads. We'll patch it.
Okay, Richard.
Jesus.
You're gonna press the release right now button for Riven in a minute.
What if my finger cramps up?
I withdraw my button.
Yeah.
To wait another hour if that happens.
We wait right at 9 o'clock.
We'll do one more minute because it might take a minute to.
Yeah.
Doesn't it make you type in a confirmation?
Yeah, I think it makes you type in Steamworks or something. Yeah, I have to actually confirm it on my phone, I think. Yeah. We'll see. Yeah.
Oh boy. Might as well click it now.
Almost. Okay, 5 seconds.
Give me a countdown.
Yeah.
The countdown. What?
All right.
Leave that. He's the rock.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, yeah, right. It's so underwhelming. You have to type in release my app.
What do I type in?
Release my app.
All one word. My ass.
Yeah. App. Release the apps.
Now what?
It should be tracking.
And 9 o'clock. Woohoo! There it is.
Okay.
That was some good timing right there.
There it is out.
Cheers!
Cheers. We did it. Woo! Well, should we look at some live streams?
Yes.
Nice.
So,
Best camera to record what's going on.
yeah, there we
You
go.
started growing your beard because of the game?
Yes, I started on the project about 1.5 years ago, and that's when I started growing out the beard, saying it was a Riven beard, and now we're done. We've released the project. Time to show you this thing off. So, yeah, okay.
You know what? It's perfect. Just like that. It's perfect.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, why don't we? I mean, like, he's bringing out like the. Just get on with it. It's like a reveal. Who's under there?
All right, how'd I do?
Lloyd.
Not happening. Mine's not long enough. Not happening.
We got our first email. I was excited to see the re-release of Riven and was looking forward to playing. Then I saw that it only runs on Mac and Windows, no Linux. Would it really have been that hard?
Our first Linux thing.
Yep.
Oh man.
Would it really have been so hard?
It would have been so hard.
87,610. They held for more than 30 years.
Oh boy, I'm going to the other stream. Somebody can have my seat. Okay, that stream's getting boring. I gotta come to another one and warm up a little. There's a cold in that one.
She's kind of slowed down a bit. The popular new releases on Steam.
Several screens.
Most complex silence to explore.
I don't like how the artwork is. Right next to Richard's. I do not like this.
It's awesome. It's so good.
Oh yeah. There's a bigger streamer that says starting soon, getting ready to play.
Really? Hannah's found one in VR. She's got that on a laptop.
This guy's got 200,000 followers, and I've seen him play other games before.
Who is it?
Ezekiel?
Okay, cool. Should we switch over?
It said starting soon. I was gonna.
Okay, yeah. Keep up to date on that one.
Here.
We don't have one on there.
I realized I could do it right now. I still have like personal storytelling. My brother is a single player game. You can play by yourself. It's a good. It's like having.
I'm excited. I was going to do indies today, and indies are great, don't get me wrong, but in my indie game suggestions channel, I saw that Riven was in there. I'm like, Riven's not necessarily indie, right? Cyan Worlds is not, I don't know, one of the best-selling computer games of all time? With the franchise? Is that indie? And then I looked at the date and I was like, today? was you? Well, shit!
Yeah.
I better get on that.
You better get on it.
There is a seat.
I'll be back. Got a big streamer started on the other one.
There's a small section there when you're walking up the right.
200,000 followers. He's getting ready to stream it. You didn't know?
He walked right by the baby breach again and completely missed it.
I feel like coming at the opposite direction is even more visible.
Are these from Dan?
He's
the best.
Good.
I'm still keeping mine under wraps.
Damn good cookies.
Yeah.
No, come on.
He's so no. He's trying to see what falling off the cliff is like now. He's so frustrated. I'm ready to jump.
Wow, look at this. Absolute throne ways you can die.
He did figure out the slider puzzle to get here, though.
All right, now we know the system for that. I don't see a button or anything. Right. Oh, yeah, there's a pathway around that corner. Let's go left first.
He caught it.
This time.
I like how Gen uses like ropes on some elevators and chains on some, and then he's just got a nice hydraulic lift on this one.
Yep.
Look at that, they even put detail into like the wear and tear on the lever. Alright, well, the other way to go.
Okay.
So tell us your feelings now. We checked in with you in the morning, and now we're checking in the afternoon.
A few hours later. I don't have a clue how many are selling, but the comments and the streams are generally really good. Who'd have thunk? Here we are, little old Cyan. I don't know how we do this. It's not a lot of people doing bigger things than they should be able to do. It's really cool.
Thank you. Thank you. So the documentary is coming along, and I got to say, it's such, for me, if I told myself, the much, much younger version of myself, that I would get to be there for these events, I would have gone out of my mind. It was really an honor. So now I'm going to show you a little bit out of order, but here's some of the beta testing with Lisa and Rich from January of this year. No spoilers, I think.
Woo! We're going to see what the Tesla does in this in this unplowed stuff over here.
Doesn't it have ludicrous mode?
Yeah, I've got it in chill mode.
Chill.
Believe me.
Oh, is that a real mode?
Yeah.
Chill.
That's all we drive in is chill.
Oh,
there's chill, there's normal, there's fast, and there's ludicrous. I don't know.
That's awesome.
We're like, chill is more than enough.
Yeah.
Speed and acceleration, especially in snow. Like, oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, please make yourself at home. Lisa,
Meet you.
and her husband Rich is here somewhere. He'll be in here too. She's played Riven 20 years ago. He's never played Riven, so we have a good combo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Being involved in the community, I learned that they were actually doing a gathering here, the Mysterium conference, and that was in 2000. Was the first one I went to with my dad, and one of the pictures on the photo thing is from that. That's where I got to meet him in person. I can't remember if I emailed you first or if I emailed you after, but it was around the same time.
Yeah.
And then just from time to time we'd email each other, and I went to the next Mysterium in 2003, and we met again. And that year I actually got to play test Uru. First time I'd ever play tested anything. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know Rand was going to be sitting next to me watching me play. I was like, oh no. I'm great.
Even though I told you, don't worry.
I know it was fine, and it was actually really fun.
I'm very unintimidated.
You are. I actually met Rich in 2004 online, and so. And.
Ready, Josh?
I am. Rich and Josh.
Oh yeah, Rich, Josh.
Good to meet you.
Josh is amazing. He's a QA guy and also does a lot of producer kind of stuff too at this point. So.
Hannah, are we still coming in pretty clear?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, we're just about ready then.
Okay.
Cool.
Lisa played Riven a long time ago, but Rich has never played Riven.
Cool.
That's Danny?
Yeah.
Okay. And another way forward. So I noticed immediately there are some please. So you don't want to touch a book, but you're perfectly comfortable with sitting on a random throne and letting it cage you.
I'll get out and I'll go look through the pictures instead. Just trying to save myself some trouble later on. Broke it.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. Josh, you have any suggestions there? I don't know if we want to. Yeah.
That's good feedback.
Yeah.
Recognize that?
Yeah, is it like a plant waterer type thing? Oh no, it's I'm an idiot. It's his pipe.
All this stuff and more, and that thing.
Oh yeah. Quick secret update, how's it going?
Great. They're doing everything as expected. There's a couple things they could go either way if you miss them or go over them too quickly. And we've seen that in a couple of inside testing. So they'll have to go back and figure those out later. But sustenance.
Yay. She knows. I guess she knows you.
Rich, sure you got what you wanted?
Yes, sir.
All right. I don't know what I want. I think I'll go for Riven. Might be something floating in space there. Please ignore that.
Platform, we can get up there. We didn't get the right colors.
On the colors. Yeah. And then they're not seeing the dunny thing, which we already have a bug on that.
Yeah. We want to change that whole thing. We had a meeting this week about changing that to a different puzzle because it's so hard to see up there anyway.
Just like a blinking light or something?
No, it's a slide puzzle reminiscent of the OG one where there's just 5 things. It's a larger change. It's part of a larger change, but it would make it much more evident. Let's just point it out to them. Yeah, let's tell them that.
It's based off of the eye shape, not off of.
It's because of the.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
Yeah, you can't even tell. Yeah.
Because the lighting is not final right now, definitely double check the colors that you're associating
Right.
each of these positions.
We didn't know what the number was that was supposed to work because he scribbled it out.
What are your thoughts?
Trying to remember where the code is to free Catherine.
Richard, do you have any questions for them?
No, this has all been fantastic, and I really appreciate your thoughtful analysis of your experience. It's just super great to hear.
It's been so fun.
Sounds like you enjoyed it too, which is just really great to hear.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. It's awesome.
Where does this moment right now fit in your career?
It's deja vu because you guys didn't test OG Riven, obviously, but we did sit behind people and watch them play. And honestly, Richard will remember. I remember playing through Riven in Japan over and over and over and over and over. We went over a trip on one of the versions, and I think I played it more there than anywhere. And this brings back those memories. Watching people play it is because we were testing it at that point. It's a weird kind of connection there, but it was interesting.
It's been great to have this opportunity to rethink it all, and we discovered in that process so many, inconsistencies or errors in the original. But it's been nice to be able to go back to those and address them. It's been nice to embellish things, and just to get a little more. Become a little more intimate with the whole world in the process of making these things. That's just a very satisfying process in and of itself.
Yeah. Even though you say it wasn't quite finished or whatever, I don't mind at all because I'm looking forward to playing it again.
Yeah.
And seeing all those the polish and seeing all the changes and being in some ways just being able to experience that. But also, like, we were there when it was actually this thing, is kind of cool all by itself. So
It's always a joy to come play test.
Nice.
It was for my 14th birthday that I got Riven, and that was 25 years ago.
Crazy.
So
Just like almost to the day,
Almost
a
to
few
the
days
day.
beyond your birthday.
Yeah.
Wow.
knowing it was my birthday on Monday and then yours on Wednesday, and it's like, this would be like the best birthday week I've had in a long time.
It sounds insincere to keep saying it, but it's true. It's an absolute joy to just hang out and play and all this stuff.
You guys did so good too. It's nice watching people. The things that clicked are reassuring because we lose track of whether people are going to click with those things or not. So those are so important. I do mine this way.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Yeah.
Before I don't get the chance,
Thanks,
thank you so
man.
much. I
Yeah,
appreciate
you
it.
guys. You guys are awesome.
Always fun to come by and.
We'll have to see when the next game is.
Yeah.
I know.
I
was
know
thinking, I was
there's,
like,
you know, there's rumblings going on right now.
Just a tease, just a tease. Thank you for that. Let me see here. So I want to give you a quick update now on just what's happening in the process. As we've seen, it's gone on a little bit longer, like I said, and it's funny because I have worked on, if any of you know my resume, I've worked on a lot of big projects and small projects and medium-sized projects. But those of you who have ever set off to do something on your own as well, where it's like your thing now, suddenly it's a whole new perspective. And I really realized, I was like, I need some help with the producing, because like having watched other people do it for so long, I learned a lot, but I didn't learn everything, partly including the courage to just get out there and do some of this extra stuff that needs to be done. So I brought on, I wanted to show you some quick pictures here. This is Julie McElmurray, who's a wonderful documentary producer. Basically, I'm in this wonderful world of documentary filmmakers that exists all over the world, and we meet. There's a group called the D Word. If anyone's into documentary and making documentaries, I recommend the D-Word. And I'm an ambassador in this group. In other words, one of the people that we meet every Friday on Zoom. We have hundreds of people from around the world, hundreds of documentary filmmakers, independent filmmakers, get together, and I sort of welcome people and make sure everybody feels comfortable. Maybe a little bit like community building. And Julie is one of the people that runs that group. So she's one of course a producer. She's come on. She's helped me a lot with the day-to-day stuff. Sort of coming up with like, okay, you need to do this. We need to do this. We need to talk to a lawyer and find out about that. We need to draw up a list of locations. Let's research how much this and that's going to cost, etc. So she's wonderful. I've also brought on incredibly experienced filmmaker named David Van Taylor. As you can tell by this picture, he's very experienced. He was smiling at the beginning of his career, and this is what happens to documentary filmmakers. No, I kid. David's an incredible guy who I've known for about 30 years, and he has, just looking at my notes here, he's been in major film festivals. He's worked with broadcasters and television, networks all over the world, including the Berlin Film Festival, Film Forum, PBS, HBO, BBC. These are people I would like to be associated with as well. I think HBO would love this Myst documentary, and the BBC. David's made films such as A Perfect Candidate. I don't know if anyone ever saw that. It's a great film. Ghosts of Attica, and Good Old Charles Schultz, which is a wonderful film. Yeah. And he's got high praise and recognition from the International Documentary Association and the Guggenheim Foundation. These are all also groups that we're approaching to get grants and things like that. So David helped me do something which is sort of retool my pitch deck, as you call it. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of the behind-the-scenes business side of things. And this is the sort of keynote presentation that David helped me craft. So I'm going to show you. And it includes, by the way, something very special, which there was a glimpse of there, which is the new title. Everyone has told me that the title, The Myst Documentary, is probably the worst title in the history of film. I actually thought it was kind of good. It tells you what it is. I like those straightforward things. But obviously, it's always been a working title. And so David came up with a suggestion that I think is really cool. Let's see if you guys agree. Let me start this little thing here. First, we get some music. Ooh. So his suggestion is A World I Want to Live In. What do you think? Round of applause if you like this. All right. There we go. I thought it was quite cool because it is kind of what it's not just something that we. All right, thank you. Not just something that I just love as a kind of poetic title, but like I think it comes from Rand or Robin saying that when they were working on it, they often thought of it as they were just building a world that they would like to live in. I know that Rand definitely felt that way about Uru. He always said Uru was a wonderful Myst game that never ends, and for him that was the ideal situation. So, welcome. I don't know if anyone remembers these wonderful silhouette characters. This sort of depicts an idea I want to have in the film, which is I have this idea of having an animated documentary crew that is traveling around Myst Island, making a documentary in the place, and then we could see Rand and Robin and Chuck Carter and Richard Vanderwind when we go to Riven, pointing out things and telling us about them, or maybe even like pulling up a hatch a hidden hatch in the grass and pointing down and showing the circuits, and Robin saying, see, when the player passes this point, the music changes, and then we dissolve to Rand standing on top of an animated CD spinning around in the drive, and Rand pointing out how they had to put the bits for the music and the location all very close together within the same scene so that the CD could change, so that the head of the CD could adjust rapidly and keep things going, so stuff like that. Sorry, well, I just nerded out there for a moment. Okay, welcome. Yes, one of us. Thank you. Myst was, I'll just read this a little bit. So Myst was the best-selling video game of the 20th century, which is a fact Rand loves to tell. As soon as the 20th century ended, he said, we were the best-selling game of the 20th century, because they were at the top of that list when the century ended. And the first ever inducted into the Museum of Modern Art. That's in New York. Yeah. It is also in the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C., and recently into the Science Fiction Hall of Fame, and of course, all kinds of other things. But the dramatic story of its making and its impact on millions has never fully been told. Our feature documentary offers a gripping history and a crucial inspiration for the present. We can build a world we want to live in. Here's one of my favorite pictures. It's just, these are geeks, all kinds of geeks, you know? There's a little Homer Simpson here. That's kind of fun. Amid colleagues, role models, and fans, the brothers Rand and Robin Miller are at the heart of our story. They're two very different people. 7 years older, Rand is an extrovert and a gearhead, an original D&D dungeon master. Robin is an introvert and an artist who'd spend days transforming his bedroom door into a phantasmagoric mural. Once the original Mac merged tech and art, the brothers found a dream that they could share, and they would become the Lennon and McCartney of video game creation. The game. Yeah. In a market dominated by competition and gore, Myst was like no other game. No ticking clock, no power ratings, no rapidly expiring lives. Instead, it was beautiful, immersive, mysterious. The game evokes experiences and emotions you'll never encounter in Doom or Asteroids. You have to figure out this world for yourself, which rekindles a childlike sense of wonder. And that's why so many players call it a world I'd want to live in. The story. I love this picture. That's Robin. The story of Myst creation and its impact is dramatic, with ups and downs, sudden reversals, soul-searching, and triumph. Competition, conflict, and ticking clocks don't play a role in Myst, but they help drive our film's behind-the-scenes narrative. What follows is a brief sketch of the story arc. And there's Chris Brandcamp's garage, where they worked on Myst. Out of nowhere. For the brothers, Myst was do or die. As a young father, Rand had moved back into his parents' basement after a distributor cheated them. Is that a well-known story, by the way? Do you guys know about this story? Yeah. Ish. Yeah, good. They contracted for this new project, a puzzle game for adults, without knowing if they could pull it off. In a crazy 2-year sprint with a few colleagues, they built Myst from hand-drawn sketches. They were in over their heads, but it was the happiest time of their lives. And Robin really tells, when Robin told me that, his eyes just lit up. I asked him once, how did it feel? And he's like, it was the best time of my life. Focus group reactions were mixed. They released the game anyway. Myst zoomed to the top of the charts and stayed there for 9 years. Wah, wah, wah. The ups and downs. Kudos to Joshua Reinstein for finding this image in the what is it, behind the scenes of Uru or something like that. With their next game, the Millers aim even higher. Now we're talking about Riven now, of course. With the next game, the Millers aim even higher, investing millions and hiring Richard Vanderwend of Disney Animation to help lead a much bigger team. Will Riven be another mega success? Yes. And will it again in 2024? I hope so. But the process will literally drive the brothers apart. Rand commands the top floor, managing the tech and the suits, while Robin churns out designs downstairs. And sometimes it feels more like business than family. After Riven, Robin leaves gaming to write novels and make movies. And Rand pushes forward, innovating an ahead-of-its-time online game, only to have funders pull the rug out before it's finished. This is my favorite picture. I love this. Resilience. In the end, the Millers are saved by their fans. Increasingly cautious distributors won't back anything except another Myst World sequel. So Rand, this is some years later, obviously. So Rand turns to Kickstarter, still in its infancy. To his surprise and delight, the fan community steps up and it exceeds the funding goal. Robin returns to act in a crucial role and to write the score for Abduction. Cyan Inc. is now the longest-running indie game studio in the world. Millions of people are living in a world the brothers helped create and eager to see how they will push the boundaries next. The themes. Like the best documentaries, ours tells and this is something that's geared really towards, like I mentioned, we're seeking grants and even approaching other philanthropists in the documentary field and other people who give funding to films. And obviously they like to see these kind of things, so we sort of lay it out for them. Like the best documentaries, ours tells a highly specific story that resonates with universal themes. Relationships. How do we navigate conflict and difference? Creativity. Can imagine and collaboration equal innovation? Enterprise. How do you balance vision with market demands? Community. Can we build worlds around cooperation, not conflict? These themes emerge both within the games and in the story of how they came to be, and this makes for a thought-provoking viewing experience. Worthy of your institution dollars. Looking good, everybody. Looking good. There are two distinct but overlapping groups to consider for the success of our project. The first is fans of Myst, woo, and the Millers' other games. The second is the audience for the film itself. And this is Shay. And if anyone who's seen some of our earlier trailers, she was a wonderful fan who I met at PAX. Like all great art, Myst reverberates through its players' lives. So the game has built a large and intensely devoted audience. It's also multi-generational. As recently as 2022, Apple named Myst's latest update Game of the Year. Myst fandom is way more diverse than other games, a welcoming community of every variety of geek. Yes. At the annual Mysterium and beyond, they're building their own world I'd want to live in, or we'd want to live in. Movie fans, this is all the press we got for the Kickstarter. It was pretty awesome. Myst fandom has already embraced our film. We have 3,000 backers who have kept engaged online and at the last 3 Mysteriums. The film has garnered 52 unique pieces of media, nearly 1 million hits. We'll leverage all this interest to build a wide film audience. Gamers are primed for a big opening. Online movie reviewers overlap with gamers. Legacy media can cover both the film and fandom, and opportunities may exist for bundling and cross-promotion with Myst itself. Bundling. Yes, bundle it. This young fella. That's me. Yeah, I've done all these different things. I am an award-winning documentarian with over 30 years of experience. My films include Lost Utopias, Einstein, and Being Elmo, which won a special jury prize at Sundance. I have edited acclaimed documentaries such as Sabbath Queen, which, by the way, just came out. I hope you guys get to see it. Dancing at Jaffa and Train Keeps A-Rolling. I was an early adopter of Myst and am a lifelong fan. Now a recognized expert on the uses and pitfalls of AI in filmmaking. My personal motto is always a geek, sometimes a nerd, never a dweeb. Thank you. Wrapping up, producing a successful documentary is like solving a puzzle game. And I do believe that, by the way, that playing Myst and Riven and all the way up to Abduction, Firmament, whatever, taught me something about patience and the pursuit of very, very difficult things. You know, that if you just keep at it, right, you can solve the puzzle. You just got to keep going. And, you know, don't look for hints. I could never do that. An untold, so you need to put all the right elements in place, and we have an untold story about a nostalgic cultural milestone, compelling characters, a dramatic tale with an upbeat ending, crucial and timely themes, an expert and dedicated team, creative team. Most of all, in these anxious times, anxious indeed, we have a film that offers hope for building the world we want to live in. A world I'd want to live in is waiting for you. To set a meeting, email sponsor at themystdocumentary.com or just come up to me after the show. So, thank you. So, thank you, everyone. I kind of went a little bit long, so do we want to do a Q&A? Okay, we're going to do a Q&A now. Take some questions.
So before we look online, does anyone in the room have a question for Philip about the documentary? Oh, you were so thorough. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Matt. I'm wondering if you have any ballpark range as to how long it will end up being.
How long the film will be in? Yeah, and actually, I'll also ask, because I know that people are going to ask about the release date. How long will the film be? Well, there's how long I would like it to be, and there's how long we can, an audience, a mass audience can sustain. I know that I will have a cut for an audience that's, you know, the typical length, 2 hours or less, 90 minutes to 120 minutes. But there will surely be a longer version, or just sort of other scenes that you can see, because there's so many interesting things, you know.
The director's cut.
The director's cut, yeah. And honestly, with other, you know, with movies that I love, that's my favorite thing, is to watch all those other outtakes and things like that.
So 8-Bit Gamer asks on Discord, what has been your favorite conversation or moment that you have caught on camera?
Oh, wow. There are many, of course. I will say one of them is I've done a lot of filming with Robin, and if you've been at previous Mysteriums, you can see some of those excerpts that I showed. And if you're not familiar, you can go to our website, themystdocumentary.com, or actually you can go to the Mysterium site and see my previous presentations and find those clips. So just thinking through some of those, there's a moment where I was at Robin's house, and he said, "Oh, you know, I think I have some old things lying around." And he went into a closet and he pulled out this gigantic, huge roll of paper that he then sat down on his coffee table, which is about as big as this table here in front of me, rolled it out, and it was the entire world of Myst in pencil, you know. And in fact, I went to film it, and it was the pencil though was so light, it was really hard to see. So I said, we're going to take this and we're going to make a version that, you know, is more visible, that maybe will then animate as well. I can imagine, you know, zooming in on a particular section and then seeing Robin's original sketch and then go into the actual world as it looked in the game. So that's really fun. And I got to say, again, just because it's so recent, it's very clear in my mind. Rand told me he was going to retire. You know, I don't know that we've all, maybe you guys have more than I have, or I don't know that we've digested exactly what that means. It's a really deep thing, and I know it is for him, and he doesn't like to get emotional, so he hasn't really spoken about it. But when he told me he was going to retire, and there's some footage that I filmed, which I didn't include in this most recent clip, just because I wasn't sure if he was ready to have, I didn't know if he was going to announce to the world that he is retiring. He obviously has, so, but I have some footage. I just followed him with his wife, Robin, leaving Cyan after the Riven launch, and just the two of them alone, walking off to his car and driving away. And he was, it was a melancholy moment. So, one of the things, again, about documentaries is I get to be privileged to be present at some pretty meaningful moments in people's lives. And then, of course, it means a lot to me and to the fans, So, yeah.
So, for time purposes, this will be our last question, so we can move on to our next surprise activity.
Yes.
But Scalanter asks on Discord, do we go into the making of the music for any or all of the games?
Not all of the games, although I would love to, or maybe that'll be in some of the extended footage I hope to be able to deliver after the film comes out. But definitely we'll talk about the music. Definitely we'll talk about the music. I think it's one of the most important things about the games. And Robin, of course, would agree, as would the other composers. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Philip.
Oh, thank you.
So for our attendees, we're going to take about a 5-minute break. And then if you come back, we have another fun thing that we're going to do related to the Myst documentary. So take 5, and we'll see you again soon. So type 5. All right, we're about to get started again. So if you could take your seat quickly, we will jump into the next fun thing. Yay.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. All right, so for the very final thing before we wrap up Mysterium 2024, yay! We thought we'd do something exciting. Most people probably have never been interviewed by a documentarian for a documentary about something that's been a major part of their lives. So we thought we'd do like speed dating. We're going to do speed interviewing, little 5-minute interviews. We're going to invite people to come up and talk to Philip for...
Can we just have a little quiet in the room, please?
We're going to invite people to come up and talk to Philip for 5 minutes about their Myst story. And so, yeah, you get to be interviewed live on camera by a legendary documentarian. No pressure at all. We'd like volunteers. I'm not going to run and shove a camera in your face. So who would like to be interviewed by? Oh, man. Oh, we have lots. Let's choose the person who came from the farthest away in the whole world. Yay! Thank you.
Welcome. Now, by the way, you should all know, normally my interviews are like 4 hours long, so 5 minutes is tough for me as well. So 5 minutes, it's
and
brief.
A bridged interview.
Yeah, but how did you come to be
a Myst fan?
A Myst fan.
Well, it was 1994, and my best friend lived next door to me. And his dad got a new computer, and it came with a copy of Myst, as you did, because show off the new CD-ROM drive. Yeah. So we used to play it every single day after school. I would go over to his house and we'd play the game together. His dad tried playing the game and kept getting stuck. But
Sorry, and how old were you think?
It was 1990. I can't work that out. I'm a time traveler. It's non-linear for me.
Exactly. I understand.
So you made it.
In base 5.
I still can't keep track of it.
It's all right. It's all right. We get it.
Yeah, little.
No.
So then Riven came out, and that became my world. Really, completely. I was obsessed with that game. We went over his house every day for months trying to solve it, and we couldn't get it done. And I actually bought the PlayStation copy to run for that. In fact, I bought the mouse for the PlayStation as well. It's just so I could play the copy of Riven better on my PlayStation copy. And I eventually got there. We bought a play guide for it, and it had the wrong answers in it and didn't tell you how to get the solutions for it. So that didn't work either. But I did get to the end of Riven by myself without any help from the play guide, essentially. So I'm very proud of managing that.
Yeah, you should be. You should be. When you think of yourself then, how would you describe yourself? Maybe how would you be different from how you are today, and if so, how so?
Oh, everyone's different no matter what. We're always constantly changing. It's just who we are. What was I like as a kid compared to now? I wasn't as tired all the time. Definitely a big one of that. A lot more optimism on things, but much more keen to look at how things work. These days, I'm more inclined to trust that things just work and only dig into them because I know that it's a big, it's a rabbit hole of getting inside things on how they work. But back then, I was definitely big on figuring out how things work. I used to take apart all my toys as a kid. So my dad would go to work and come home and there'd be ice cream buckets lined up of this was this toy, this was this toy, this was this toy. Can you put them back together for me? So that way the next day I can take them apart again. Yeah, but these days, I'm a bit more inclined to let things stay together so that they don't break.
Yeah. Did you say time was up? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Is there something, because I know you build things.
Yes.
Is there a project you dream of building like next, or what's your dream build?
I'm not sure. There's all sorts of things that I could build, and I like building things that people don't expect me to build. So the things that people want me to build are probably not what I'm going to build. I have thought of doing the Wark counting number game. I'll say that one publicly. But I can't quite figure out how to do it exactly the way I want. So that's holding me back a bit on that one. But maybe one day I'll come across the proper design technique to build it properly. That's something I would like to build one day.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Then you could, and you've already built the imager,
yeah,
right? So you could basically go create the whole classroom.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Get the wooden seats and everything, proper carving them.
Yeah. And we're running out of time. One more. Yeah, I was going to ask you. This is a hard question, but it's a fun question for people. Is there something you can tell people that they probably don't know about you?
I don't want to that you don't know about me. I was once bitten by a giraffe. That's good enough.
That's pretty good. A big.
Oh yeah, and one more thing that I should say before I do it. Today is actually my partner Mika's birthday, who's sitting just over there. Come all the way from Australia to put up with me going to these silly conventions. So, happy birthday to you, Mika.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Riam.
Anytime.
All right. Big round of applause, please.
That's awesome.
Riam.
Now I'm going to introduce Josh.
Right.
Do you want to introduce him?
Oh, you do it, and then I'll.
So, just so you all know, our lovely timekeeper is Josh Reinstein, who you've seen him around, and Philip has mentioned him a couple of times. I just want Josh to take a sec and tell you in his own words what he's been doing on the film.
It's good. You do editing among many other skills.
Many other things.
Yes. I apologize, Internet.
This is the unofficial interview with the crew member, I suppose.
Yeah.
But hello. For those of you who don't know me, I am Joshua, and I've worked with Philip on the Myst Documentary since, 2020? So it's been about 4 years, and I've done everything from editing to social media. You might have seen some of my posts on Instagram and TikTok, but I've also done extensive research and compiled a huge library of archives, which is just a whole bunch of different historical research about Myst and the game and its community and its creators throughout all different kinds of platforms and avenues on the internet, which is a really fascinating thing to go through because you learn all kinds of different things about the making of the game and the history of it. For example, some of the early concepts for Dunny was actually part of Robin's first ever short story that he wrote back in the 90s, and it was Dunny was spelled differently back then. It was Dunny. Of course, this is not true today, but back then it was about a son and his grandfather, I guess, and his grandfather was part of this ancient race of cave dwellers. And that was what inspired the concept for the original lore behind the game. So that was a really cool thing to learn about, and I've also learned extensively about the history of Uru, or Dirt, as it was called, Mud Pie. It went through a bunch of names, I think.
I also like one of the things Joshua's found in our gathering our vast archival library that we have for the film now is all these old videos from like the 80s and 90s of like, news stories. There's a new thing out. It's called the internet, and then footage of like people in stores buying computers, all this stuff I remember doing, it's just kind of fun. So, which you don't remember any of that. So for Joshua, it's like he might as well be watching, Pearl Harbor or something.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's a whole other topic.
Thank you, Joshua.
But yeah, it's great to be here, and thank you guys so much.
All right. Big round of applause.
Thank you.
Okay, who's up next for speed interviews? Aw, Dan. Everybody's favorite cookie maker, Dan Floyd.
I don't know if I'm their favorite cookie man, but I'm a cookie man.
Yes. Dan, how did you discover Myst? Do you remember your first time with Myst?
Oh, yes. Yes. Going back to your comment about the internet being new, we were in the first generation of iMac purchasers. That lovely teal, fruity color they showed off one of these other days, and so that
Bondi blue for those friends from Australia.
So, yes, and it came with a copy of Myst, and having grown up until that point with a Super Nintendo only, that was just totally different from anything I had ever experienced. And when you call it a world we want to live in, I mean, it's perfect. It's perfect because it was an escape from reality and growing up, and all the turmoils of growing up and puberty and adolescence and all of that, it was wonderful. And finding after that, some of you probably remember going into a computer store and seeing all the new games, finding out, since this was even after Riven was released, finding out that, oh my God, there's a sequel already on the shelf ready to go was phenomenal. Yeah.
This is a little bit of a corny question, but what are some of the how did it make you feel, like when you talk about it being an escape? And I can totally relate to it. I think it's one of the huge things, certainly for me. I think other people have different reasons why they enjoy the games, but sort of I always thought, it does, as I mentioned in the sort of pitch deck thing, it gave you emotions or feelings that you wouldn't get necessarily playing, other games like Asteroids or whatever. So what were some of the, how would it make you feel when you were in that world?
Honestly, it made me feel important. And I don't want to make that sound so sad.
That's beautiful. No, that's great.
It sounds sad when I say it, but it did. It made me feel important in a way that, you connect with Atris and his need for you to help him. And you were literally the only person in the universe that can help him in that moment. And that is probably the one that bubbles to the surface, is just how needed I was.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Also, another thing that just makes me think, and this is actually something that I find amazing about Rand, when I was seeing Rand sort of hugging Lisa and Rich at the end of the beta testing scene there, Atris is kind. He sees you, he just, you're a good person, and he recognizes that. He could have imprisoned you right away, and then that would be the end of it. The brothers, you're like, I don't know. Yeah. Where were you, if you remember your age, or at least approximate age, and sort of where were you in your life? In other words, I was in I had just graduated college, I think, when Myst came out. So where were you in your life when that happened?
Okay, so I would have been just entering junior high when I played Myst and Riven, in 6th to 8th grade, something like that. And which also kind of sets you apart from so many other people, because especially in that age group, there aren't a lot of people who want to play a slideshow on their computer, you know?
Yeah. If there was something in the documentary, what is something you would like the document, or you hope that maybe the documentary will convey, or that you would personally would like to convey about Myst or Riven to people who don't know about it? You know, why should they care, for instance?
I think I want them to know more than anything that the world is a better place because Myst was made and because Riven was made. Yeah. That even if they haven't played it directly, like, I think it has made the world they live in more of the world we want to live in, you know? Yeah.
That was very well done. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Big round of applause for Dan.
Okay.
All
Are you
right,
ready for
who's
your
next?
next one? Let's see. Let's go with Catherine. Was your hand up? Yes, I thought so. Okay, good. So this is Catherine, everyone, and she's a big reason that any of us are here right now in this room because of all her help. Catherine,
Catherine, it's wonderful to meet you, and thank you for making this happen.
Oh, well, thank
This
you.
is fantastic. Do you live here?
I do, yeah. I'm
Oh.
20 minutes down the road.
Well, merci beaucoup.
Very welcome.
I've just used all my French.
Oh, there we go.
I appreciate it. So, Catherine, how did you? Oh, what is? So, just tell me about that.
So I actually brought my original Myst journal.
Wow.
From the first time I played Myst. So I've got my old notes. I've tried to date it back with my personal journals to see what years that I had actually done this. And
Ooh, hold it up so people can. People have probably seen it. Pencil.
there you go. Good old pencil drawings. So I think I started playing Myst probably around 1994.
Okay.
Not right when it came out, but I was really lucky that my mom worked for the school board, and so got a lot of the up-to-date computers after they were sent out of the schools. And so we were one of the first families to get internet and to be able to play some of those games on CD-ROM and stuff. And so I remember playing Myst. I would close the blinds in the computer room, and I would turn off all the lights, and the only thing I would see was this little screen about that big.
Yeah.
And I was just so absorbed into this world with the music and the graphics, and it was phenomenal. It was really, it was was just like you were diving into a pool and you were surrounded.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And where were you living at that time?
With my parents at home, so about 5 minutes away from here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's very cool. Was the game in French?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
It was probably available in French,
Right.
but I grew up English, so.
Right. Cool. Is there a particular, what part of Myst do you remember most vividly?
Oh, I think it was more a sensation that I remember most vividly is that I was always waiting for somebody to come and grab me. That there was always this element of, I knew that there was nobody around, but I always felt like somebody was going to come up behind me and surprise me, or not necessarily attack me, but capture me and throw me into a trap book or something like that. Yeah. And it was just always this nagging feeling over my shoulder as I was playing. And on subsequent playthroughs, I got a much more peaceful feeling from it. But in those original moments, it was very much a slight sense of panic.
You remind me of that too. That definitely, when I think back on it, I think it's all peaceful. But then you hear the music actually, and you realize, oh, it's actually a little spooky.
Yeah.
In fact, I just had a flashback to the planetarium chair for the first time. I was like,
Felt
oh my
like
god,
a dentist chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely scary. If there were a question I asked Dan, I'm just curious, like if there was something you would like to convey to the audience, about it, what it meant to you, or what was just great about
I don't know.
Myst or the other games?
I think it just opened up a whole different world of possibilities. I went to school at a time where we were learning how to use computers, offline and online, a lot on Macintosh. And so I actually was using HyperCard as a program before I knew about Myst and before I knew Myst was HyperCard. So I have some on 3.5 discs at home, some original projects with little buttons where you say, okay, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to make an art museum and a whole bunch of little pictures, and you're going to be able to click on the pictures and find a secret room and things like that. And it's just going from something so simple at its base to be able to create this world. I think it's a good analogy for the possibilities that we all have to be able to go from a small starting point and to be able to make something magnificent.
That's beautiful. Did you play the kids' games that they made, Cosmo or any of those?
I did not, no.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So you had HyperCard, but
you
didn't play those. That's really cool. That's really cool. Were your parents, did anyone else play it in your house?
My father did.
Yeah.
He's an incredibly impatient person, so there was no getting through the puzzles for him.
Yeah.
I far surpassed him with getting the puzzles. I finished the game through all the endings without realizing I had done it. I was expecting a jump to credits or something because I had played a lot of games on Nintendo. And so I was always expecting that final flourish and you've won the game.
Yeah.
And I did it so many times and actually had to go online to find out I had finished the game.
That's awesome. What do you do now? Are you?
I'm a chef in a restaurant.
You're a chef in a restaurant? Tell us about the restaurant.
Oh, well, actually, a couple of people here came to eat on Thursday.
Yeah.
Wow,
awesome.
So it's a creperie. So I make large-style crepes, savory and sweet crepes, and it's a really fun job, and it gives me a lot of spare time too to be able to do computer games and a lot of testing. Actually, I help with testing for Myst Online.
Oh wow, fantastic! What game are you playing now, or what's your favorite? Most recent game?
Currently, I'm playing a lot of really quiet games. So I'm doing something called Monument Valley.
Oh yeah.
I'm always playing Myst Online.
Yeah.
The last big game that I played was Stray. I really enjoyed that, but I love cats. So. Yeah.
Beautiful. So the last question then, speaking of Myst Online, you know, what's something about, like most people don't know about that outside the Myst community. So again, if you could convey something about that to other people, what is it?
Oh, it's just the beauty of the community. It's the beauty of the community. It's worldwide, and everybody is looking out for everybody else.
Yeah.
I've never experienced a community online that has been so accepting and so wonderful and so attentive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Some of them may be here.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them here, actually, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Catherine.
Well, thank you.
Yes. Big applause.
That's great. We're going to do 2 more.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to wander back a bit. I know, I see you guys. You, sir. Okay, who votes Harley and who votes Doobs? Okay. Doobs, come on up for now. All right. And Harley, you'll be last.
Doobs. Nice to meet you too. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that.
So where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Minnesota.
Oh, right on.
Since moved to Florida, and now I reside in Savannah, Georgia.
Okay.
Which I kind of enjoy. So.
Cool. So, was Myst the first game you played, or were there others?
Unfortunately, I'm not that young. No, it was one of the most original games I played at the time, because before that it was, platformers on the Super Nintendo, stuff like that. Yeah. So it was very different from what I had started out with just in my youth. So
yeah. So when did you? For some people, Myst isn't the first game that they discovered. Sometimes it's even Abduction or whatever. So, what of the Cyan games, what was the first one you discovered?
It would be the original Myst. I was at a family friend's house, and of course, my brother and them were all playing. And of course, then I found the computer. They had the Mac, and then I found that they had a selection of games, and I just happened to pop in this one called Myst. And for the next several hours, even despite playing and not even playing outside, I just decided to play this game, and I was completely immersed in it. It was just it was the most amazing thing I had come up with at that point. So yeah, that definitely was the start of my journey.
Yeah, that's really cool. what can you remember some of the feelings you had as you played the game that in particular you would not, for instance, have had during a platformer?
Well, just the fact that it was a bit more of a slow burner. That it was something that, you weren't rushed to do anything. You weren't timed to do anything. If you think like like Super Mario, you're timed on the levels and stuff like that. Yeah. This one, you just basically had the time to explore, to immerse yourself, to relax a bit. There's no push. I mean, obviously there was a, nagging sensation of, well, what's going on here? Yeah. But it didn't push you to solve it in a particular amount of time. So you were able to just, again, fully immerse yourself in all these worlds. So that for me was very different from everything else I'd played up until that point.
Yeah, it is. Did you know anyone else who played it? Like, actually, when I played it, I didn't know, and I don't think many people I knew were playing it.
No, it was literally the only one. I tried to turn my brother onto it and my parents onto it. They were just looking at me like, "You like this?" I'm like, "Yes." So honestly, I had not known that, I had really not met any Myst fans until Myst Online. And a lot of the current friends I have now are from there. So, okay. But yeah, it was definitely a game changer when I finally got onto. It would have been the Game Tap era of Myst Online, and then I just, then of course I realized there was Mysterium, and then got to meet all these wonderful people. The first one I went to was in 2010, but it was kind of a wallflower back then, but it was in Minneapolis, so it was very close. Then I went to the 2011 one in Boston, and the last one, of course, last year, which was just huge. And really, every single one of them has been absolutely fantastic, and I have all of you to thank for that. So it has been right on. Myst family is best family, right?
Yes. The Uru story is so interesting to me. And before I started this film, I didn't know very much about it. I was out of gaming by the time Uru came out, and then it was really through Katie and then through coming to these conventions that I learned a lot about it. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. And then you mentioned you were in it during the Game Tap era, which is one of the people who's been working with us since the beginning is Blake Lewin, who created Game Tap, right? Mm-hmm. And he talks about that was the first time they sort of were able to they hopefully were resurrecting Uru and didn't get it. What was your feeling as you were in, like, what has it feel to be in the cavern, for instance?
Well,
in that era.
Yeah. Well, back then, this was before they started the episode treatment, which I'm presuming was more of a Game Tap thing that they were. But at that point, it was more you could potentially go into the game. You'd see your friends, you'd have a chat a little bit, but potentially something new could just pop up and just you'd be able to find, like, for me, the first thing that just popped up randomly that I was able to find was the Paya Farron book, one of the pod, from the pod age, one of the pods from there. But it just goes to show, I like that feeling of, and I'm hoping we're going to reproduce it in Uru Live again, is that feeling of, you could come in and something new may just pop up where, it's, just the new discoveries, and something, some event might happen or some new area might open, new age might open.
Yeah.
We didn't want to do the whole episodic stuff because that seemed to contain everything into 1 week, and then it just was a ghost town after that. So we're trying to shy away from that as far as what we're doing. So, and trying to get that feel of just random discovery back.
And did the Game Tap version have a hard ending? Was there a time where it was like it's not open anymore?
Yeah, that was the appropriately titled episode Exodus. That was kind of when things started to wrap up with the Bahro and Yisha. Well, actually, it was left open ended, but it was kind of an ending. So because they were expecting a season 2 at the time, but unfortunately Turner didn't want to do one. So and then of course it languished for a couple of years, and then Cyan was kind enough to open everything up to open source for us, and that opened the door to some changes and additions and age development. So now we, the fans, are maintaining the latest iteration, which is run by Cyan, but they only maintain the server. They don't actually actively develop for it. That's us. So.
Right.
And I got to say, they have been very, very supportive on that front.
Yeah.
Very supportive.
Yeah.
And very happy about what we do. So
I think I'm not remembering his last name. Mark
DeForest.
Mark DeForest is running on his computer.
He is our friendly neighborhood admin, Shard admin. So he has been he's been very, very much supportive of what we do. Yeah. We were fortunate enough to meet him last year at Spokane. So
cool.
And we just had a lovely long talk with him about what we were doing. We showed him the hopefully upcoming Mac client that we got coming up. So and he was very excited for it. But he's been very supportive since we've been adding new content. So I got to give Mark some credit on that one.
Yeah, right on.
Yes, thank you, Mark DeForest.
So, are we out of time? Yep. Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Wonderful to have you.
Check that.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Come on, Harl.
Come on, Harley.
Philip, Harley.
Harley, yes,
Hi.
of course we've met.
We've
How
met,
are you?
yes, we
Wonderful
have.
to see you. I like your key.
Thank you. I modeled it for for last year's Mysterium. Although technically we modeled it for the year before, but it just didn't get time to. Anyway. Hi, I'm Harley.
Hey, Harley. How old were you? Was Myst the first of the games that you encountered in the Cyan world?
I think it's safe to say that I don't actually remember a time where I didn't know about Myst. My earliest physical memory about Myst is when I was like 3 and I was in a Target and I saw the box for Riven on the store shelves and I'm like, it's Riven, it's the sequel to Myst. Let's go, let's get it, we gotta get it. And so obviously I knew about Myst at that point, but I don't remember my first experience with Myst.
Wow.
So
who was playing it that you knew about it?
My dad, he's out there in the audience somewhere.
Right on. So what was the first experience that you remember? Your first experience, conscious memory of being in the world?
My first memory of actually playing a game is, so we didn't have a computer that could run Riven at the time we had it. So me and my dad were down in my mom's brother's basement and we were using his computer. We had the lights off. We were installing the game. I distinctly remember that orange 5 popping up on the screen. And I'm just like, and I don't really remember playing it much beyond that. But my next real clear memory of playing Riven to completion is reaching the moiety age on our own PC, which we had gotten. It was a Windows Millennium, so it was at least 99 or 2000. So
yeah. So if you when you think back to it now, when we remember things, usually it's just images flash into our mind. What's an image of Riven that comes to mind, and do you remember what your feelings were as you were in that particular place or doing that puzzle?
Like I said, the one that really just comes to my mind the most is standing in the cave that we just opened up the wall and the book had come forth, and I'm looking at the panel and I'm seeing it's the thing from the cover art. It's the thing from the cover art. Yes. We link it and it says insert disc 5.
Yeah.
Finally, disc 5.
I am with you. I remember when you could hear the sound of the drive spinning up, and it was like, I did it. Of all the games, which is Riven your favorite, or?
Personally, actually, I think it's a little complicated because it's like I think my top 2 favorites are actually Revelation and Uru. I've had this weird relationship with Uru my entire life. Like in some ways, you could say that I see Uru as like my little sibling. We've both kind of grown up together and changed in various ways over the years. But Revelation especially really kind of resonated with me. Like it came out in 2004, and it was just after Uru Live had closed, and it was all kind of sad and all that. And I was about the same age Isha was in the game, and there was just something about the whole experience of Revelation that just resonated with me, and it's still stuck with me. I think it really is just one of my favorites of the Myst games. Although my proper ranking will change day to day, I still like it a lot.
Yeah. What's one particular image or place or moment in Revelation that sticks with you? The specific.
So this is just a really funny one. So you know the memory amulet in Myst 4, right? So I'm in Spire and I'm clicking around and I find this crystal tube thing and I'm like, oh hey, what's this? Whoa! I fall down the tube because I misclick trying to get the memory amulet, and so I just tumble down the chute. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I love how you said that you and Uru, you feel like Uru is a sibling of yours because you grew up together. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So, 2003, Uru came out. I remember seeing an ad on the TV for it, and then within a day or two, Dad had come home with Uru, and I remember us installing it, and bad graphics card. It didn't really work properly. The ground on the cleft was completely black. Atrus's intro didn't even play. Eventually, but yeah, I was going online. I was reading up about, the events going on in the cavern. I remember reading about, Phil Henderson came out of the journey door. I remember Phil Henderson went missing again. I remember Phil Henderson fell off the bridge or whatever happened to him, and then the closure happened. And then I was just, heartbreaking. And then Dad brought home a CD with the tooth and knee patch, and I'm going through all of these places with a really long loading times because we hadn't updated the computer's graphics card yet either. We actually didn't update the graphics card until we tried playing Revelation. It says when we started Revelation, just imagine that first screen where you're looking at Isha. But it's just Isha, a black background, and then the sky behind her, and then that's it. It's frozen. It doesn't want to run.
Oh, no.
So
I think a great place to wrap up would be at the end of Revelation. So describe the scene. Let's say people who have no idea what it is. What's the sort of ending image in your mind? The memory of the ending of Revelation, and how did you feel?
#Akinar should live.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Well, that's a great place to end. Harley, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
You want to do a thank you?
Yeah, sure. Well, I want to thank everybody. If you came up we're in this event, raise your hand. So Dan, everybody, raise your hand so we can. Could we thank a round of applause for everybody who braved the interview chair. Thank you. Man, I learned so much from that. Yeah, just from that. As I do from every single one of you when I come to this event. And it's been my pleasure. I've been coming to these since 2017. And, I've always felt welcome, as I think a lot of us do when we come here. And it's a wonderful feeling. So I want to thank every one of you for that, for just being there through all these years and listening to me again with my film. And for those of you who are backers, it seems like just about every one of you, I am so grateful. As I know my team members are as well, for your support through the film, and we will keep going and hopefully get this wrapped up ASAP. So thank you all.